The military transport plane's engines whined as it touched down at Joint Base Andrews. Sergeant Major Marcus Shadow Rourke gripped his seat, knuckles white against the canvas. His stomach churned, not from the landing, but from the gnawing emptiness that had plagued him since receiving Jake's messages. 23 missed calls, 48 text messages, none explaining why. The plane rolled to a stop. Around him, soldiers gathered their belongings, their faces bright with anticipation. Marcus remained seated, thumb hovering over his phone's screen. Jake's last message glared back at him. "Call me when you land. It's important." A young private stumbled past, apologizing profusely. Marcus waved him off, his attention fixed on the terminal visible through the small window. No sign of Evelyn. She'd never missed one of his homecomings before. "Sir?" A flight attendant touched his shoulder. "We need to deplane now." Marcus nodded, shouldering his rucksack. The Virginia sun hit him like a physical force as he descended the stairs. He paused at the bottom, scanning the crowd of waiting families. Mothers embracing sons, wives leaping into their husbands' arms, children waving handmade signs. No Evelyn, no Lily. His phone buzzed. Jake again. Marcus ignored it, making his way to the parking lot where his truck should be waiting. Evelyn had promised to drop it off. At least she'd kept that promise. The black Ford F-150 sat in its designated spot, a thin layer of dust dulling its paint. Instead of heading home, Marcus punched in the address of a nondescript office building in Arlington. His security clearance would still be active. He needed answers before confronting whatever waited at home. The guard at the security desk barely glanced at his ID. "Welcome back, Sergeant Major." Marcus's boots echoed through empty corridors as he made his way to records. The clerk, a bespectacled woman named Nancy whom he'd known for years, dropped her coffee mug when she saw him. "Marcus? But you're dead." The words hit him like a physical blow. "Come again." Nancy's hands trembled as she pulled up his file. Death benefits were processed 3 months ago. Full payout. She turned the monitor toward him. "Your wife." She had all the documentation. Witness statements. DNA confirmation. Marcus leaned closer, scanning the details. The approval process had been rushed, signatures missing, protocols ignored. And there, buried in the attachments, Project Nightingale, Asset Termination Report. "I need copies," he said quietly. "Everything." Nancy hesitated. "Marcus, this isn't... Something's wrong here. These access logs, your wife and Jake Mitchell have been in and out of the system for months. And there's this other signature, redacted, but the clearance level, print it all." While the printer hummed, Marcus finally listened to one of Jake's voicemails. "Hey buddy, just checking in. Evelyn's doing better. Lily too. We're taking good care of them, I promise. Call me." The drive home felt surreal. The familiar streets of Fairfax seemed different somehow, as if he were seeing them through a distorted lens. The manila envelope from Nancy sat heavy on the passenger seat, filled with questions he wasn't sure he wanted answered. His house looked exactly as he'd left it. The American flag still hung by the door. Lily's bicycle still leaned against the garage. But something felt wrong. The curtains were drawn tight. No lights on despite the approaching dusk. He was reaching for his key when the door flew open. Lily stood there, 7 years old and trembling, tears streaming down her face. "Daddy?" Marcus dropped to his knees, arms open. She slammed into him with such force it nearly knocked him over. That's when he saw them, angry red marks on her arms, partially hidden by her sleeves. "Baby, what happened? Who hurt you?" Lily's words came out between hiccuping sobs. "Mommy and Uncle Jake said you were dead, that you got blown up and left us like garbage." She clutched him tighter. "They get so angry. They hurt me when I cry about you." The rage that filled Marcus was unlike anything he'd experienced in combat. Cold, calculating, deadly. He carried Lily inside, noting the sterile emptiness of the house. No photos on the walls. No toys scattered about. None of the warmth that had made it a home. "Are you hungry, sweetheart?" Lily nodded against his chest. "Let's get you some dinner. Then you can tell me everything." While Lily ate the grilled cheese he'd made, Marcus sent a text to a number he'd hoped never to use again. Whisper. "Need surveillance package." Full spectrum. It's personal. The response came instantly. Location? Marcus typed his address, then added, Target is my wife. And Jake Mitchell. Jesus, Shadow. What happened? They tried to kill me. And they're hurting my daughter. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, package will be active in 60 minutes. Be careful, old friend. Marcus tucked Lily into bed, promising he'd be there when she woke up. Then he went to work. Micro cameras in air vents, audio receivers and light fixtures, motion sensors on windows and doors. Years of covert operations experience turned against his own home. In his daughter's room, he found a burner phone hidden beneath her mattress. Text messages from Evelyn. Remember what happens if you tell anyone. No one would believe you anyway. Marcus sat in the darkness of his kitchen, watching feeds from the hidden cameras initialize one by one. On the table before him lay the contents of Nancy's envelope, proof of betrayal in black and white. His phone buzzed. Jake again. Seriously, man, we need to talk. It's about Evelyn. And Lily. Things aren't what they seem. Marcus typed back 4 words. No, they really aren't. Then he settled in to watch and wait. The predator had become the prey, but not for long. Not anymore. Chapter 2. Shadows and Whispers. The surveillance feeds painted a picture Marcus couldn't unsee. Evelyn and Jake, lounging on his couch, drinking his scotch, planning their future with his death benefits. Their voices carried through the hidden microphones, each word another twist of the knife. California's perfect, Jake said, swirling the amber liquid. Fresh start. No one knows us there. Evelyn curled against him, Marcus's wedding ring still on her finger. What about Lily? That boarding school in Vermont looks good. Far enough away she won't cause problems. She's getting worse. More defiant. Keeps talking about Marcus like he's coming back. Jake's laugh was ugly. Let her. Who's gonna believe a traumatized kid? Marcus watched this exchange from a safe house Whisper had secured, his hands clenched into fists. But it was the other meetings that truly caught his attention. Twice a week, Evelyn would drive to a coffee shop in Georgetown. She'd sit at an outdoor table, waiting. The woman who joined her was a ghost. No facial recognition matches. No pattern to her appearances. She and Evelyn would talk for exactly 17 minutes, then part ways. Jake never knew about these meetings. That much was clear from his messages to Evelyn asking where she disappeared to. Your wife's been busy. Whisper's voice crackled through Marcus's earpiece. Found something in those decrypted Nightingale files. You're not gonna like it. Marcus watched another feed of Jake, rifling through his home office. Tell me. Project Nightingale wasn't just about eliminating assets. It was about creating deniable operations. Take a decorated soldier, fake his death, then use his skills off the books. If anything goes wrong, the soldier's already dead. No investigation. Exactly. But some assets wouldn't play ball. Had to be eliminated for real. Whisper paused. Your name was on that list, Marcus. Operation Phantom Strike. You saw something you weren't supposed to. The memory surfaced. A midnight raid gone wrong. Civilians' casualties that didn't match the official report. A general whose name appeared in transfer documents to private military contractors. They recruited Evelyn and Jake to confirm my death, Marcus said. Promised them the benefits plus extra if they kept Lily quiet. There's more. That woman Evelyn meets? Facial reconstruction suggests she's Diana Wells, Deputy Director of Special Operations. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. Evelyn's sister. The same sister who fast-tracked your deployment schedules for the past 5 years. Who had access to your mission details. Who could arrange for accidents to happen in the field. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Every near miss. Intelligence failure. Time he'd questioned orders, but followed them anyway. I need to end this, Marcus said. Carefully, Whisper warned. These people can make anyone disappear. They already tried. They failed. Marcus switched feeds. Jake was leaving, fumbling with his car keys, clearly drunk. Evelyn watched from the doorway, phone pressed to her ear. Time to make his move. He found them exactly where the surveillance showed. Jake sprawled on the couch, Evelyn pacing the kitchen. Both froze when he stepped through the door. Hey honey, Marcus said softly. I'm home. Jake lurched to his feet, face pale. Marcus? But how? Funny story. Turns out I'm not as dead as you hoped. Evelyn's phone clattered to the floor. Marcus, please, let me explain. Explain what? How you filed my death benefits. How you let Jake move into my house. Or how about the bruises on my daughter? Jake took a stumbling step forward. Listen, buddy, you don't understand. Marcus moved with the fluid grace that had earned him his call sign. One moment he was by the door. The next his fist was connecting with Jake's jaw. The drunk man sprawled, blood spraying from his split lip. I understand perfectly. You thought I was gone. An inconvenient memory. But you forgot something. Marcus knelt beside Jake's groaning form. Shadows always come back. Jake swung wildly, alcohol making him clumsy. Marcus caught his arm, twisted, felt something pop. Jake's scream brought neighbors to their windows. Marcus, stop. Evelyn grabbed his shoulder. You're making a mistake. He shrugged her off. My only mistake was trusting either of you. He pulled out his phone, showed her the photos of Lily's bruises. This is unforgivable. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called an ambulance. Good, Jake would need it. Get out, Marcus told Evelyn. Pack a bag and get out. If you ever come near Lily again, you'll what? Evelyn's voice turned hard. Kill me? Like all the others? Others? Project Nightingale. The terrorists, who were really journalists. The insurgents, who were aid workers. Diana told me everything. Marcus felt cold. Your sister sent me on those missions. She arranged the intel, and you followed orders like a good soldier. Evelyn's laugh was bitter. We're not so different, Marcus. We both did what we were told. The ambulance pulled up outside. EMTs rushed in, crowding around Jake's moaning form. I'm going to destroy you, Evelyn hissed as they loaded Jake onto a stretcher. You and your precious reputation. By the time I'm done, Lily will know exactly what kind of monster her father is. Marcus watched them leave, his mind already racing ahead. He needed allies, people he could trust, people who understood what it meant to operate in the shadows. His phone buzzed. Whisper again. Found something else. Jake's not just Evelyn's boy toy. He's connected to Avalon Security Solutions. Private military contractor with some very interesting government contracts. How interesting. Black sites, rendition flights, and a lot of dead journalists in countries you've operated in. Marcus thought of Evelyn's words. The missions, the targets, the pieces of a puzzle he'd refused to see. Send me everything you have on Avalon, and get me secure lines to Sarah Chun and Ben Miller. Your old team? You sure about this? Marcus looked at the family photo still hanging in the hallway. Him, Evelyn, and Lily, all smiles and innocence. I'm sure. It's time to go hunting. Chapter 3. Setting the stage. Sarah Valkyrie Chun was cleaning her sniper rifle when Marcus's call came through. She recognized the encrypted signature immediately. Only one person she knew was paranoid enough to use that particular protocol. Shadow, she said, setting aside the boar brush. Heard you were dead. Rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated and monetized from what I hear. She switched to speaker, continuing to work on her weapon. Your wife cashed in your benefits. Real classy move. You been watching me, Valkyrie? Someone had to. That operation in Kandahar smelled wrong. Too many coincidences. She paused. Ben thought so too. Is Hammer available? Hold on. Sarah typed rapidly on her laptop, initiating another secure connection. A gruff voice joined the call. This better be good. I'm in the middle of something. It's Shadow, Sarah said. Silence filled the line. Then, well, the ghost himself. How's death treating you, boss? Marcus's laugh was hollow. Could be better. Need your help. Both of you. Sarah listened as Marcus laid out the situation. Project Nightingale, the betrayals, the abuse of his daughter, the connections to Avalon Security Solutions. Her hands never stopped moving, assembling her rifle. This goes deep, Ben said when Marcus finished. Government contracts, black ops, dirty money. And your sister-in-law's right in the middle of it. Diana Wells, Sarah mused. I worked with her once, before joining Shadow's team. Cold as ice. brilliant tactician. Completely amoral. She used me, Marcus said. Used all of us. Those missions, they weren't about national security. They were about cleaning up loose ends for Avalon. And now you're a loose end, Ben added. Not for long. Marcus's voice hardened. I need your skills, your loyalty, and your absolute discretion. Sarah racked the bolt on her reassembled rifle. I'm in. Those bastards tried to kill my commanding officer. That makes it personal. Same here, Ben growled. Nobody messes with Shadow Squad and gets away with it. It's dangerous, Marcus warned. These people have resources, connections. Save it. Sarah cut him off. We're not mercenaries like Avalon. We're family. They spent the next hour planning. Sarah would handle surveillance and overwatch. Ben would manage logistics and heavy weapons, if needed. Marcus would be the tip of the spear. First move, Marcus said. We use their greed against them. I'm going to donate a large chunk of my death benefits to a veterans charity. Very publicly. Bait the trap, Sarah nodded. They'll hate seeing their money slip away. More than that, Ben added. It creates a narrative. The wronged war hero fighting for his daughter. Media loves that stuff. Meanwhile, Marcus continued, we dig deeper into Avalon. Their contracts, their operations, their political connections. Sarah was already typing. Got something. Avalon CEO is Thomas Sterling. Harvard MBA, CIA background, sits on several defense contractor boards. Very connected. Too connected, Ben muttered. Company like that, doing what they do? They've got protection. Everyone has weaknesses, Marcus said. Find them. The plan took shape. Sarah would set up surveillance on Avalon's headquarters. Ben would work his contacts in the defense industry. Marcus would maintain his public persona while gathering intelligence. But Evelyn threw a wrench in their plans. The kidnapping attempt came 3 days later. Marcus had just picked Lily up from school when he spotted the tail, 2 SUVs, professional drivers, coordinated movements. Daddy? Lily clutched her backpack. Those cars are following us. I know, sweetheart. Marcus kept his voice calm while typing a preset alert code to Sarah. Want to play a game? Lily nodded, eyes wide. Remember how we used to pretend your backpack was a parachute? Time for a new game. When I say now, climb into the backseat footwell. Pretend you're hiding from dragons. The first SUV accelerated, trying to get alongside them. Marcus recognized the maneuver. They'd try to box him in, force him to stop. His phone buzzed. Sarah, 2 minutes out. Heading northwest. Marcus checked his mirrors. The second SUV was dropping back, preparing to cut off any retreat. Amateur move. They didn't know about the modifications he'd made to his truck. Now, Lily. She scrambled into the footwell just as the first SUV swerved toward them. Marcus hit a switch under his dashboard. Reinforced steel panels slid down over the windows. The truck's engine roared as hidden modifications kicked in. Hold tight, baby. The dragons are about to learn a lesson. He yanked the wheel hard, smashing into the first SUV's rear quarter panel. The vehicle spun, blocking the road behind them. The second SUV swerved to avoid the collision. Valkyrie, I have eyes on a black Chevy Suburban. Diplomatic plates. Marcus said into his comm, taking side streets toward your position. Copy that. Intersections ready. Marcus took a sharp turn, tires squealing. The remaining SUV followed, getting closer. He could see Evelyn in the passenger seat, her face a mask of determination. Almost there, Lily. You're doing great. The intersection ahead looked clear, exactly as it was supposed to. Marcus accelerated straight through. Halfway across, a delivery truck seemingly appeared from nowhere, driven by Ben. It T-boned the pursuing SUV, disabling it without causing life-threatening damage. Marcus pulled over 2 blocks away. Sarah's voice crackled through his earpiece. Area secure. For hostiles down, non-lethal. Evelyn's unconscious but breathing. The others? Professional contractors. One had Avalon security credentials. They'll need medical attention, but nothing permanent. Marcus helped Lily out of the footwell, checking her for any injuries. You okay, sweetheart? She nodded bravely. Did we beat the dragons? We sure did. He hugged her close. And now we know who sent them. Later, at the safe house, Sarah shared what they'd found on the contractors. All former military, all with connections to Avalon. They were sloppy, didn't expect you to have backup. Evelyn's getting desperate, Ben added, cleaning gear at the kitchen table. Trying to grab Lily before you can completely lock her out legally. Marcus watched Lily sleeping on the safe house couch. She crossed a line. They all did. There's more, Sarah said, pulling up files on her laptop. Remember that mystery woman Evelyn kept meeting? Confirmed it's Diana Wells. Her sister's been playing both sides, feeding intel to Avalon while using her government position to cover their tracks. Classic power play, Ben growled. Government oversight in one hand, private military contracts in the other. Marcus studied the surveillance photos. Diana Wells, the woman who'd sent him on so many missions, who'd positioned him like a piece on a chessboard. His own sister-in-law. What's our next move? Sarah asked. We go public, Marcus said. But carefully. First, I lock down everything. Accounts, properties, custody arrangements. Make it impossible for Evelyn to touch any of it. She'll fight back, Ben warned. Let her try. Marcus's voice was steel. I've got proof of the abuse, documentation of the fraudulent death benefits, and now attempted kidnapping. No judge will rule in her favor. Sarah was already typing. I'll start the paperwork. By morning, she won't have access to anything with your name on it. What about Diana? Ben asked. She's got reach. And resources. We gather evidence, Marcus said. Everything connecting her to Avalon, to Project Nightingale, to the missions she arranged. We build our case piece by piece. She'll know what you're doing, Sarah pointed out. Count on it. That's why we need to work fast. Ben, contact your sources in the defense sector. Find out who else Avalon's been targeting. Sarah, keep digging into Diana's communications. There has to be a paper trail. They worked through the night, piecing together the conspiracy. Project Nightingale wasn't just about eliminating liabilities, it was about creating them. Target soldiers with high-level clearances, fake their deaths, then use the threat of exposure to control them. Marcus had been different. He'd seen something on that last mission, something that made him too dangerous to control. So they tried to eliminate him for real. Dawn was breaking when Sarah found the connection. Got it. Avalon's not just a contractor, they're a front. The company's owned through a series of shells leading back to a private equity firm. Guess who's on the board? Diana Wells, Marcus said, along with 3 senators and a deputy director of the CIA. Sarah looked up from her screen. This is bigger than we thought. Doesn't matter, Marcus said, watching Lily stir on the couch. They tried to take my daughter. Everything else is just details. Ben started packing up gear. What's our timeline? 48 hours to lock down the legal side. Then we start pushing back. Hard. Sarah nodded. I'll maintain surveillance on Evelyn and Diana. They'll meet again soon. They always do after a failed operation. And I'll be ready when they do, Marcus said. This ends now. The sun rose over the safe house, painting the room in shades of gold. Lily woke up, rubbing her eyes. Daddy? Are the dragons gone? Marcus kissed her forehead. Yes, baby. And they're never coming back. I promise. He meant it. The shadows were his home, and he would use them to protect what mattered most. Let them come. Evelyn, Diana, Avalon, all of them. They thought they were hunting him. They were wrong. The hunt was just beginning, and this time, he wasn't alone. Chapter 4. Playing Dirty. The news headline flashed across Sarah Chen's tablet. Avalon Security Solutions under investigation for contract irregularities. She allowed herself a small smile as she forwarded the article to Marcus. Your leak did the trick, she said into her comm. Their stock dropped 30% in the first hour of trading. Marcus's voice crackled through her earpiece. Any response from the board? 3 directors resigned this morning. Thomas Sterling is trying to contain the damage. But, she paused, scanning another incoming alert. Well, looks like someone's panicking. Jake Mitchell just booked a flight to Geneva. Track it. Already done. Valkyrie never loses her prey. Sarah switched screens, monitoring the surveillance feeds from Jake's hospital room. He sat on the edge of his bed, phone pressed to his ear, clearly agitated. No, You don't understand, Jake hissed into the phone. Rourke knows everything. The project, the contracts, all of it. We need to move now. Sarah enhanced the audio, recording everything for evidence. I don't care what Diana says. He's not playing by the rules anymore. Look what he did to the stock price. The door to Jake's room opened. Evelyn entered, her face tight with anger. Sarah switched to a different microphone. You idiot, Evelyn snapped. Making calls on an unsecured line? Jake threw his phone onto the bed. What does it matter? He's already exposed us. Not everything. Not yet. Evelyn lowered her voice. Diana has a plan. Your sister's plans are what got us into this mess. No, your greed got us into this mess. Evelyn paced the room. You couldn't wait, could you? Had to start spending the money before Marcus was even cold in his grave. Except he wasn't in his grave, was he? Sarah tapped her calm boss. You getting this? Every word, Marcus replied. Keep recording. Jake struggled to stand, wincing at his injuries. Don't pretend you're innocent in this. You signed the papers. You took the money. You let them hurt Lily. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice, Eve. You just made the wrong one. Sarah watched Evelyn's expression shift. Something darker, more desperate, replaced her anger. We still have options, Evelyn said. Marcus has a weakness. Yeah? What's that? He still loves me. Deep down, under all that rage and righteousness, he can't let go. We can use that. Sarah switched channels. Ben, you copy? Reading you, Valkyrie. Keep eyes on the hospital. Mitchell's probably going to run. Already got a team in place. He won't make that flight to Geneva. Sarah returned to the hospital feed. Jake was shaking his head. You're delusional. You didn't see his eyes when he put me down. That man doesn't love anything except his daughter and revenge. Then we'll use both. Evelyn pulled out her phone, dialed a number. Diana? It's time for phase 2. Sarah quickly traced the call, but it bounced through multiple proxies. Diana Wells knew her tradecraft. The psychological warfare began that afternoon. Marcus's private military records leaked to select journalists, missions that never officially happened, targets that didn't officially exist. The stories painted him as a ruthless killer, a man who followed orders without question. But Marcus had anticipated this. Sarah watched him calmly give interviews, explaining how Avalon Security had manipulated intelligence to eliminate witnesses to their illegal operations. His reputation didn't just survive, it grew stronger. Your move, Sarah muttered, watching Evelyn's reaction to the interviews through surveillance cameras. The next attack was more personal. Child Protective Services received anonymous reports about Lily, claims of neglect, of psychological abuse. But Marcus had documented everything since his return. The accusations fell apart under scrutiny. They're getting desperate, Ben commented during their nightly briefing. Making mistakes. Sarah nodded. Jake's trying to access his offshore accounts. Sloppy work. Left digital fingerprints all over the place. Let him transfer the money, Marcus said. Each transaction is more evidence. They worked methodically, building their case. Sarah monitored communications while Ben tracked physical movements. Marcus stayed in the public eye, making himself a harder target. But it was Evelyn who surprised them all. Sarah was reviewing surveillance footage when she noticed the pattern. Every Wednesday, Evelyn visited a small church on the outskirts of town. She'd sit in the back pew for exactly 1 hour, apparently praying. Except she wasn't praying. Boss, Sarah called, enhancing the image. Look at her hands. Marcus leaned closer to the screen. Evelyn's fingers moved in precise patterns, old military sign language. She's sending messages, he said. But to who? Sarah rewound the footage, checking other angles. There, in the corner, a maintenance worker, seemingly fixing a light fixture. Different person each week, but same position. That's their dead drop. Church is the perfect cover. Lots of people coming and going, expected periods of silence. Can you decode it? Sarah studied the signs. Most of it. She's warning them. About Diana. Marcus went very still. What about Diana? Something about Project Nightingale. It wasn't just about eliminating assets. It was about, Sarah squinted at the screen, creating them. taking good soldiers, faking their deaths, then using them for unofficial missions. But some of them broke conditioning, went rogue. How many? Dozens. Maybe more. Diana didn't just approve your missions, Marcus. She was building her own private army. The implications hit hard. Every operation, every target. Had any of it been real? Or were they all just pieces in Diana's game? Keep watching the church, Marcus ordered. If Evelyn's trying to warn us, she must have a reason. Sarah assigned extra surveillance to the location. 2 days later, it paid off. Diana herself appeared, dressed as a parishioner. The conversation between the sisters was brief but intense. "You're supposed to be handling this," Diana snapped. "I'm trying," Evelyn replied. "But Marcus isn't following the profile. He's not acting on emotion anymore." "Then give him a reason to. You know his weakness." "I won't hurt Lily again." Diana grabbed her sister's arm. "You'll do exactly what's necessary. Remember who owns you." The feed crackled with interference. When it cleared, Diana was gone. Sarah forwarded the footage to Marcus. His response was immediate. "Protect Lily. Whatever it takes." They moved the girl to a safe house, surrounded by trusted veterans. Sarah designed the security herself. Multiple layers, redundant systems, constant surveillance. But she knew it might not be enough. Diana Wells had resources they couldn't match, and a ruthlessness that made Marcus look tame in comparison. The real war was just beginning. Chapter 5. Descent into Darkness. Ben Hammer Miller had seen his share of dirty operations, but this one felt different. Personal. As he watched Jake Mitchell try to squirm his way through customs at Dulles International, he almost felt sorry for the man. Almost. Targets approaching checkpoint 3. He murmured into his comm, "Right on schedule." Sarah's voice replied, "Customs agents are in position. Documents are flagged." Jake reached the counter, handed over his passport. The agent's expression didn't change as she scanned it, but her fingers moved quickly across her keyboard. "Sir, I need you to step aside for additional screening." Jake's face went pale. "There must be some mistake. My flight." "This way, sir." Ben watched through the security cameras as Jake was led to a private room. Right about now, he'd be discovering that his passport had been flagged for potential links to terrorist financing. The evidence was circumstantial, of course, but enough to cause problems. "Subject is secure," Ben reported. Moving to Phase 2. He walked into the screening room, his FBI credentials already out. Jake's eyes widened with recognition. "No, not you. Special Agent Miller, Counterterrorism Division." Ben sat down across from Jake. "We need to talk about Avalon Security Solutions." "I want a lawyer." "Sure. Call one." "While they're on their way, maybe we can discuss the $100 million that disappeared from Avalon's Classified Projects Fund. Money that ended up in accounts linked to known arms dealers." Jake swallowed hard. "I don't know anything about that." "No? How about Project Nightingale? The soldiers who disappeared? The missions that never happened?" "I want immunity." Ben leaned back. "From what, exactly?" "You know damn well from what." Jake glanced at the cameras. "Diana Wells. She'll kill me if I talk. We can protect you. Like you protected the others? The ones who tried to expose the project." Jake laughed bitterly. "I've seen the files. They all had protection too." Ben's phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Diana on the move. Coming your way. Last chance, Jake. Tell me everything, right now, or you're on your own." Jake closed his eyes. Nightingale wasn't just about eliminating problems. It was about creating assets. Take a skilled operator, fake his death, then offer him a choice. Work for us or we expose you. Your family thinks you're dead, but we can change that. Just do what we say. How many? Dozens. But some of them, something went wrong. They started asking questions, remembering things they weren't supposed to remember. Like Marcus. Jake nodded. He saw something in Kandahar. A meeting between Diana and some people she shouldn't have been meeting. After that, he was marked for termination. Real termination. And Evelyn? Where does she fit in? Diana owns her. Has for years. Ever since. The lights went out. Ben drew his weapon, but the backup generators didn't kick in. Total darkness. "Lock this place down," he shouted into his calm, static answered. When emergency lighting finally sputtered on 30 seconds later, Jake was gone. No signs of struggle. No broken restraints. He'd simply vanished. Hammer here. We lost him. Ben quickly cleared the room. All units, implement Protocol Echo. Find him. But Ben knew they wouldn't. This had Diana's fingerprints all over it. The precision, the timing, the complete disruption of their systems. His phone rang. Sarah. Ben. We've got bigger problems. Marcus just got arrested. What? How? SWAT team hit his location 10 minutes ago. They had warrants, evidence, witnesses, everything. He's being charged with multiple homicides. Ben was already moving. The missions? No. Fresh bodies. 3 Avalon executives found dead in their homes. All killed with Marcus's signature methods. Frame job. Perfect frame job. They even have DNA evidence. Ben reached his car. Where are they taking him? Federal holding facility in Alexandria. But Ben, that's not the worst part. His blood went cold. Lily? Gone. The safe house was hit during the blackout. Professional team knew exactly where to look. They took her. Ben slammed his fist against the steering wheel. Diana's making her move. Neutralize Marcus. Grab his weakness. Then mop up the rest of us. What do we do? He started the engine. We do what we're trained to do. We hunt them down. All of them. Even Evelyn? Ben thought about Jake's words. Diana owns her. Has for years. Especially Evelyn. She's the key to all of this. Find her. Already on it. She's at the church again. Stay on her. I'll handle Marcus's extraction. Be careful. Diana will be watching. Ben checked his weapons, his gear. Let her watch. Time she learned we can play dirty too. The next 12 hours were chaos. Marcus's arrest made national news. Decorated war hero accused of brutal murders. The evidence seemed overwhelming. Security footage, DNA, witnesses who placed him at each scene. But Ben knew better. He'd trained with Marcus, fought beside him. The man was a ghost. He'd never leave evidence unless he wanted to. Update. Sarah's voice crackled through his comm, found something interesting in Evelyn's church visits. She's been leaving data drives hidden in the hymnal books. Contents still decrypting. But preliminary scan shows documentation about Project Nightingale. Dating back years. Insurance policy? More like a confession. She's been gathering evidence against Diana since the beginning. Ben processed this as he studied the federal facility's security. She knew someday Diana would turn on her. There's more. Remember that meeting Marcus saw in Kandahar? Found references to it in the files. It wasn't just any meeting, it was a sale. What kind of sale? The kind where you auction off trained killers to the highest bidder. Diana wasn't just building an army. She was selling it. Ben's phone lit up with a new message. Unknown sender. Proof of Marcus's innocence in exchange for Project Nightingale files. 1 hour. Sarah, you seeing this? Got it. Tracking source now. Opinion? A pause. It's Evelyn. Has to be. She's trying to fix her mistake. Or setting another trap. Maybe both. But do we have a choice? Ben looked at the federal facility, thought about Marcus inside, about Lily and God knew whose hands. 1 hour, he said. One chance to make this right. The piece was set. The game was in motion. And somewhere in the darkness, Diana Wells was watching it all unfold. Chapter 6. Truth and Consequences. Thomas Sterling, CEO of Avalon Security Solutions, paced his penthouse office, phone pressed to his ear. What do you mean you lost him? Diana Wells's voice remained unnaturally calm. Jake proved unreliable. He's been contained. Contained? Sterling glanced at the bank of monitors, showing his company's plummeting stock price. Like you contained Marcus Rourke? The man's destroying us piece by piece. Marcus is exactly where I want him. In federal custody with enough evidence to put him away for life? That's not containment, Diana. That's desperation. A pause. Watch your tone, Thomas. Remember who really runs this operation. Sterling gripped the phone tighter. You promised me Project Nightingale would be invisible. Perfect deniability. Instead, I've got dead executives, leaked contracts, and a media circus. The board wants answers. The board wants profits, which they've gotten abundantly, and now we're losing them. 3 more clients canceled contracts this morning. Temporary setbacks. Once Marcus is convicted and his allies eliminated, we'll rebuild. Sterling sat heavily in his chair. And the girl? Taking her was a mistake. The girl is leverage. She's a liability. If anything happens to her, nothing will happen to her. Unless it needs to. The line went dead. Sterling stared at his phone, wondering when exactly he'd lost control of his own company. A soft click behind him. He spun to find Evelyn Rourke sitting in his private conference room. "Hello, Thomas." Sterling reached for his panic button. Evelyn raised an empty hand. "I disabled it, along with your security systems. We need to talk." "About what?" "About how my sister played us both." Sterling studied her carefully. Evelyn had changed since he'd first met her. The polished military wife replaced by something harder, more dangerous. "Diana said you were with us." "Diana says many things. Most of them lies." Evelyn placed a USB drive on the table. "Like the real purpose of Project Nightingale." "I know the purpose. We identify useful assets, remove them from official channel, and sell them to the highest bidder." Evelyn's voice was ice. "Private armies for anyone with enough money. Terrorists, cartels, rival governments. Did you really think Diana was just helping you clean up loose ends?" Sterling felt cold. "Prove it. It's all there. Financial records, contact lists, mission details, including the real reason my husband had to die." Marcus saw something in Kandahar. He saw Diana selling enhanced soldiers to the same terrorists we were supposed to be fighting. So she marked him for termination, then blackmailed me into helping. "Why are you telling me this?" Evelyn leaned forward. "Because in 1 hour, this information goes public. Unless..." "Unless what?" "You help me save my daughter." Meanwhile, across town, Sarah Chun monitored the feeds from her mobile command center. Target is meeting with Sterling. Conversation recording clearly. Ben's voice crackled through her comm. "Marcus is secure? Transport team in position. On your mark. Execute." Sarah activated the first sequence. Throughout the federal facility, security systems began failing in a precise pattern. Cameras looped. Doors unlocked. Guards found themselves responding to phantom alarms. Marcus was already moving when Ben's team breached his cell. No words needed. They'd run this drill 1,000 times in worse conditions. "Package secure," Ben reported. Moving to extraction point, Sarah switched channels. Evelyn's feed is getting interesting. Sterling's cracking. Indeed, the CEO's composure was dissolving as he read through the files Evelyn had brought. "This goes higher than just Diana," he was saying. "Government contracts. Black budgets. If this gets out..." "That's the point," Evelyn replied. "Diana's made all of us expendable. You, me, even her precious enhanced soldiers. The only thing she cares about is power. What do you want from me?" "Access codes to the containment facility." "That's where they're holding Lily." Sterling shook his head. "Diana will know. Diana already knows. This isn't about secrets anymore. It's about choices." Sarah's system pinged. New player on the board. Diana's personal security team is mobilizing. "Numbers?" Ben asked. "At least 3 squads. All enhanced. All Nightingale graduates. Point of convergence?" Sarah checked the patterns. "They're splitting up. 1 team to Sterling's office, 1 to the federal facility, 1 to..." She froze. "Sarah?" Marcus's voice now. "What is it?" "They're heading to the church. Diana knows about the evidence Evelyn's been hiding. Decisions had to be made fast. Marcus was free but exposed. Lily was still captive. Evelyn was trying to turn Sterling. And Diana's kill teams were moving to eliminate all loose ends. "Ben, get Marcus to the secondary site," Sarah ordered. "I'll coordinate with Evelyn's team at Sterling's office. We need those access codes." "And the church?" Ben asked. "I'll handle it. Been wanting to test these new rifle modifications anyway." Marcus broke in. "Sarah, Diana's enhanced soldier are just men with fancy programming. Men can be killed. The next hour was a symphony of violence. Diana's teams were good, enhanced strength, speed, and reflexes. But they weren't ghosts. They weren't Shadow Squad. Sarah's rifle sang from her nested position overlooking the church. 3 enhanced soldiers down before they reached the entrance. 2 more inside, taken by pre-placed charges. At Sterling's office, Evelyn and the CEO had to fight their way out. But Sterling proved surprisingly capable. Apparently, the businessman facade hid military training. Got the codes, Evelyn reported, breathing hard. Facilities in an underground bunker beneath an Avalon research center. Defenses? Marcus asked. Heavy. Automated turrets. Biometric scanners. And at least dozen enhanced guards. Can we breach it? Sarah checked her tactical display. With what we have. Maybe. But Diana will see us coming. No, Marcus said. She'll see what we want her to see. The plan came together quickly. Ben's team would make a loud, obvious assault on the facility's main entrance. Sarah would coordinate with Evelyn to infiltrate through maintenance tunnels. Marcus would walk right through the front door. She wants me, he said. Let's give her what she wants. Sarah understood. Sometimes the best way to spring a trap was to step into it willingly. The final pieces were in place. The evidence against Diana was backed up and ready to broadcast. Sterling's access codes would get them into the facility. And most importantly, they had something Diana didn't. The truth about Project Nightingale's real purpose. Remember, Marcus said as they moved into position. Diana thinks she's playing chess. Moving pieces, sacrificing pawns. But this isn't chess, Sarah replied. No, this is family. And she hurt mine. The assault would begin at dawn. One way or another, Project Nightingale would end where it began, with a soldier coming home to protect what mattered most. Sarah watched the sun begin to rise, her rifle ready, her targets marked. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't even about justice. It was about making things right. Chapter 7. Shadows of the Past. Montana's Bitterroot Valley stretched before Marcus Rourke's property, the mountains rising like sentinels in the distance. 5 years of peace had changed him. His hands were calloused now from ranch work rather than weapon grips, his vigilance turned toward predators that might threaten his cattle rather than enemy combatants. But old habits died hard. Dad, Lily's voice carried from the kitchen. That black SUV is back. Marcus didn't turn from the window. How long? 20 minutes. Same spot as yesterday. At 12, Lily had inherited his tactical awareness. Different plates, though. Good catch. He watched the vehicle through his scope, noting the driver's practiced stillness. Remember what we discussed? Stay away from the windows, maintain routine, no direct acknowledgement. Lily moved to the center of the room. But Dad, this is the 3rd time this week. Marcus lowered the scope. Someone was testing their security, probing for weaknesses. The drone he'd spotted 2 days ago had been military grade, its flight patterns too precise for civilian operators. His secure phone buzzed, Sarah Chin's special frequency. We've got movement, she said without preamble. 3 former Nightingale operatives surfaced in Missoula. Projects or handlers? Projects. All showing signs of enhancement degradation. One nearly killed a grocery clerk who tried to scan his items. Marcus glanced at Lily, who was pretending not to listen while doing her homework. They're unraveling, like the others. Whatever conditioning Diana used, it's breaking down, making them unstable and dangerous. That's not all. Sarah's voice tightened. Whisper's gone dark. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. Whisper had been their early warning system, monitoring chatter and movements related to Project Nightingale. His silence was deliberate. Last contact, 48 hours ago, said he had intel about someone called Wraith. The name triggered something in Marcus's memory, a mission file he'd glimpsed in Kandahar, heavily redacted. Wraith was Diana's prototype. First successful enhancement. How successful? Successful enough that they used his neural pattern as the template for others. A burst of static, then Ben's voice joined the call. We've got bigger problems. Just intercepted a data burst from that SUV. They're not just watching you. What do you mean? They're collecting baseline data. Heart rate, breathing patterns, electromagnetic signature. The The kind of readings you'd need to identify a specific enhanced soldier. Marcus understood immediately. They're confirming whether I was enhanced. And whether it worked, Sarah added. Think about it. You're the only Nightingale target who survived and stayed stable. They want to know why. Lily closed her textbook. Dad, I need to ask you something. Hold on, he told his team. To Lily, what is it, sweetheart? Was Mom really trying to kill you? Or was she trying to save you? The question hit him like a physical blow. They'd never discussed Evelyn's true role in the conspiracy, but Lily was too smart not to have pieced things together. It's complicated, he began. No, it's not. I found her letters. The ones she wrote from prison that you never opened. Sarah's voice crackled through the phone. Marcus, that SUV is moving. Lily wasn't finished. She was afraid of Aunt Diana, wasn't she? That's why she did those things. Incoming. Ben's warning coincided with the sound of breaking glass. Marcus tackled Lily as smoke grenades crashed through the windows. But these weren't standard flashbangs. The gas had a metallic taste, and his vision immediately began to blur. Neural inhibitor, he gasped, pushing Lily toward the panic room. Run. She hesitated. But now. The door sealed behind her just as figures in tactical gear breached the house. Marcus counted 4, their movements enhanced but uncoordinated, definitely degrading Nightingale subjects. But it was the 5th figure that caught his attention. Tall, unnaturally still, moving with a predator's grace. Hello, Marcus. The voice was modulated, inhuman, or should I say, Subject 0? Wraith. The neural inhibitor was strong, but Marcus's system was fighting it. He'd always metabolized drugs quickly, one of the reasons Diana had marked him for termination rather than enhancement. You're dying, Marcus said, noting the tremors in Wraith's hands. The enhancement is breaking down. We're evolving. Wraith moved closer. But you're something else. Natural selection at its finest. The other operators were securing the house, but staying well back from their leader. They feared him. Diana's dead, Wraith continued. Did you know that? Stroke, they said. But really, her own enhancement turned against her. Just like it's turning against all of us. Except me. Except you. Wraith's mask tilted. You survived because you were never enhanced. Just exceptional. We need to understand why. Marcus tested his limbs. The inhibitor was wearing off. You need a cure. We need to start over. Clean slate. New template. Wraith gestured, and one of his men aimed a weapon at the panic room. Your daughter has your genes. Your potential. The rage that filled Marcus was cold, familiar. Touch her and die. You don't have a choice. The inhibitor. Marcus moved. Later, the other operators would try to describe what happened. How Subject 0 seemed to blur, to be everywhere at once. How their enhanced reflexes couldn't track him. How their leader, the legendary Wraith, finally met someone faster, stronger, more lethal. Target is neutralized, Sarah reported, watching through her scope as Marcus systematically disabled the enhancement-degraded soldiers. Ben, status on the backup team? 2 minutes out. But I don't think he needs it. They were right. By the time tactical support arrived, Marcus had secured the scene. 4 operators zip-tied and sedated. And Wraith knelt on the floor, mask removed, revealing a face that was more scar tissue than skin. How? He wheezed. You weren't enhanced. Marcus checked the panic room seals. Lily was safe. No, I was trained. There's a difference. The others, they're all dying. The enhancements are a shortcut, and shortcuts have costs. Wraith laughed, blood staining his teeth. Diana said the same thing. Right before she authorized Project Nightingale anyway. Power was worth any price. And now we're all paying it. Except you. Wraith's eyes unfocused. You could help us. Your genetics, your resistance, or I could let you face justice. Justice? Another wet laugh. There's no justice for what we've become. We're weapons that backfired. But your daughter, she could be the key. The next step. Marcus heard Lily's voice through the panic room calm. Dad, are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Stay inside until I clear the house. Wraith tried to stand, failed. She's special. Like you. Natural enhancement. Pure. She's a child. She's the future. Wraith's voice strengthened. Diana saw it. Why do you think she pushed Evelyn so hard? The bloodline had to be preserved, studied. Even if it meant destroying the family to do it. The pieces clicked into place. Evelyn's recruitment. Diana's manipulation. The constant surveillance of Lily. They hadn't been trying to eliminate a threat. They'd been trying to create one. Sarah's voice crackled through his earpiece. Marcus, we've got more incoming. Different signatures, government plates. CIA. Been confirmed. Top-level clearance. Marcus zip-tied Wraith. Time to find out how deep this really goes. Chapter 8. The Price of Retribution. The CIA task force arrived in unmarked vehicles, their movements precise and coordinated. Sarah Chan watched through her rifle scope as they established a perimeter around Marcus's ranch. 16 operators, she reported. Standard tactical formation, but their gear isn't standard issue. Ben's voice crackled through her calm. These aren't regular agents. They're from Division 7, the Oversight Committee for Enhanced Soldier Programs. Convenient timing, Marcus replied. He'd secured Wraith and his team in the barn, away from prying eyes. Any sign of backup? Satellite shows 2 more units holding position 10 miles out. Sarah adjusted her scope. They're being careful, almost like they're afraid of something, or someone. Ben added. The task force commander approached the house, hands visible. Sergeant Major Rourke? Assistant Director Phillips, CIA. We need to talk about Project Nightingale. Marcus stepped onto his porch, keeping Lily safely in the panic room. About the project, or about what's happening to your enhanced soldiers? Phillips removed his sunglasses, revealing eyes that had seen too much. Both. May we come in? Show me your enhancement scans first. The commander nodded, unsurprised by the request. He and his team submitted to portable scanners, all clean, no neural modifications. Inside, Phillips laid out files on Marcus's kitchen table. We've been tracking the degradation for months. Enhanced soldiers going rogue, their conditioning breaking down. Some turn violent, others simply shut down. And Wraith? Our most stable subject, until recently. When he disappeared 3 days ago, we knew he'd come here. Phillips studied Marcus. He's not wrong, you know. You're unique. I'm not enhanced. Exactly. You're naturally resistant to the enhancement process. Your neural pathways actually reject artificial modification. Phillips opened another file. We've never seen anything like it. Sarah's voice came through Marcus's hidden earpiece. Boss, you need to see this. Pulling up Diana's personal files now. A tablet on the table, lit up with documents. Project Nightingale wasn't just about creating enhanced soldiers. It was about breeding them. Diana had been studying bloodlines, looking for genetic markers that could produce natural enhancement. Your sister-in-law was brilliant, Phillips said, and completely amoral. She saw the potential in your genetic profile, but she couldn't replicate it through artificial means. So she tried a different approach. Lily, Marcus said, his voice cold. The next generation. Natural enhancement through selective breeding. Diana pushed your deployment schedules, maximized your exposure to combat stress, trying to activate whatever makes you different. Then she used Evelyn to monitor the results. Ben broke in. Marcus, we found Diana's private server. You need to see Evelyn's original recruitment file. The documents told a stark story. Diana had threatened Evelyn with Marcus's death, real death, not the fake kind, unless she cooperated. Each time Evelyn tried to warn him, Diana escalated the pressure, eventually targeting Lily. Your wife tried to protect you both, Phillips said quietly. Diana had her convinced that playing along was the only way to keep you alive. Marcus thought of the unopened letters from prison. Where is Evelyn now? Witness protection. She provided evidence that brought down half the intelligence community's black projects. Phillips grimaced. Not that it matters. The enhanced soldiers are dying anyway. And now you want my help. We want to understand. Your DNA could be the key to saving hundreds of lives. Sarah's voice was tense. Marcus, those backup units are moving in. You're lying, Marcus told Phillips. This isn't about saving lives. You want to start over. New program, new soldiers, new template. Phillips didn't deny it. The enhancement program is too valuable to lose, even though it's killing people. Some would say especially because it's killing people. It's perfect deniability. Weapons that eliminate themselves when they malfunction. Marcus had heard enough. Sarah? Ready. Ben? In position. Marcus faced Phillips. Here's what's going to happen. Those files you brought? Copies are already uploading to every major news outlet. The full truth about Project Nightingale, including Diana's breeding program. Phillips reached for his weapon but froze at the red that appeared on his chest. Your backup teams are already handled, Marcus continued. My people are very good at their jobs. And Wraith? He's going to testify about everything, in exchange for treatment. You can't expose this, Phillips protested. The damage is already done. The age of enhanced soldiers is over. Time to try something radical. What's that? Training. Trust. Actual human beings making actual choices. The operation that followed was precise and devastating. Sarah and Ben's teams systematically disabled the CIA units, while Marcus contained Phillips. Within an hour, Division 7's involvement in Project Nightingale was documented and exposed. But Marcus wasn't finished. Chapter 9. Echoes of Justice. The mountain safe house was exactly as Marcus remembered it. Evelyn sat at the kitchen table, her witness protection detail discreetly withdrawn at Marcus's request. You look well, she said softly. You look tired. Prison will do that. She gestured to the chair across from her. Lily? Safe. Growing. Asking questions about you. Evelyn's hands trembled slightly. Did you read my letters? Not until today. Marcus sat down. You should have told me about Diana. She would have killed you. Really killed you, not just on paper. Evelyn's voice cracked. I thought I could handle it. Play along, keep you both safe. But then she started talking about Lily's potential. As a naturally enhanced soldier, she was obsessed with bloodlines, with creating the perfect weapon. Evelyn met his eyes. I didn't know about the abuse. Jake went too far, enjoying his role too much. By the time I realized, it was too late. I'm so sorry, Marcus. For everything. He studied her face, seeing the weight of years of coerced betrayal. Diana's dead. I know. The enhancements she tested on herself. They broke down faster than the others. The program's exposed. Division 7 is finished. And the other enhanced soldiers? Marcus pulled out a tablet, showed her the treatment protocols they developed. We found a way to stabilize the degradation. Not cure it, but stop the decline. Give them a chance at normal lives. Using your genetic profile? And Lily's. Voluntarily this time. Evelyn absorbed this. What happens now? That depends on you. Marcus placed a folder on the table. Your witness protection ends today. Your sentence is commuted. In light of the evidence you provided, I can't go back. No, but you can go forward. He opened the folder. I'm starting a foundation, supporting veterans, helping enhanced soldiers transition to civilian life. We could use someone who understands both sides. Marcus, Lily needs her mother. Not right away. There's healing to be done first. But someday. Tears slid down Evelyn's cheeks. Why? After everything. Because Diana didn't win. She tried to turn us into weapons, but we're still human. Still family. The foundation grew quickly. Enhanced soldiers, once they learned the truth, came forward for treatment. Marcus's natural resistance provided the key to stabilizing their conditions. The psychological scars were harder to heal, but that's where Evelyn's experience proved invaluable. 5 years later, Lily stood at a podium, addressing a room full of veterans and their families. Project Nightingale tried to create perfect soldiers, she said, but they forgot something important. True strength isn't about physical enhancement. It's about choice. About staying human in inhuman situations. Marcus watched from the back of the room, Sarah and Ben beside him. Evelyn sat in the front row, restored to her daughter's life after years of careful reconciliation. My father taught me that family isn't about blood or genetics, Lily continued. It's about loyalty, about standing together against darkness, about forgiveness. The applause was thunderous. Another group of enhanced veterans, successfully treated and rehabilitated. Another step away from the shadows of Project Nightingale. She's good at this, Sarah commented. Better than we ever were, Ben agreed. Marcus nodded, watching his daughter shine. She'd chosen this path herself, not as a weapon or an experiment, but as a healer, a protector. The ghosts weren't gone. They never would be completely, but they'd been transformed into something else. Motivation to do better, to be better, to ensure no other family faced what they had. This was justice, not revenge or retribution, but restoration. The chance to rebuild what was broken, to heal what was wounded. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. Epilogue, Legacy of Shadows. 15 years later, the Rourke Foundation's headquarters in downtown Seattle hummed with activity. Lily Rourke, now 27, stood at her office window, watching former enhanced soldiers arrive for their monthly support group. Her tablet displayed the latest treatment statistics. Over 2,000 soldiers stabilized, their neural degradation halted. Another 100 in active treatment. Dr. Rourke? Her assistant's voice came through the intercom. Your mother's here for the board meeting. Send her in. Evelyn Rourke had aged gracefully, her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a professional bun. As the Foundation's head of psychological services, she transformed her experience with Project Nightingale into a revolutionary treatment program. The new cognitive therapy protocols are showing promising results, Evelyn said, setting down a thick folder. 87% reduction in combat flashbacks among enhanced veterans. Lily smiled. Dad will be pleased. How is he? Still playing rancher in Montana. Says the cattle are better company than most people. Evelyn's eyes softened. Though he and Sarah are spending more time together these days. That didn't surprise Lily. After years of working closely together, her father and Sarah Chun had developed a deep bond. Their shared experiences, both during and after Project Nightingale, had created something special. And Uncle Ben? Running security operations from the ranch. You know how he is. Always needs to keep an eye on everything. Ben Hammer Miller had turned the Foundation's security division into a world-class operation. His teams protected enhanced veterans during their treatment, while also monitoring for any attempts to revive the enhancement program. A notification popped up on Lily's screen. Speaking of monitoring, looks like another private military contractor trying to recreate Project Nightingale. Where? Eastern Europe. Using salvaged data from Diana's research, Lily pulled up the details. They don't understand why it failed. They never do. Evelyn moved closer to examine the data. Have you told Marcus? Dad's already aware. He and Sarah are handling it. Diplomatically, which meant Sarah Chan was probably perched on some distant rooftop right now, her rifle trained on people who needed to reconsider their life choices. Some things never changed. The board meeting that afternoon was routine. Budget approvals, program updates, new initiative proposals. But the real work happened afterward, in the secure sublevel where the Foundation's true heart beat. Dr. Thomas Chin, Sarah's younger brother and the Foundation's chief medical researcher, presented his latest findings. We've isolated the genetic markers that grant natural enhancement resistance. More importantly, we've developed a test to identify potential candidates. How many? Marcus asked from the video conference screen, Montana's mountains visible behind him. About 1 in 10,000 has the basic markers. 1 in a million has the full spectrum, like you and Lily. Thomas brought up a global map. We're tracking bloodlines, identifying families with enhanced resistance. All voluntary, all transparent. Any attempts at exploitation? 3 this quarter. Pharmaceutical companies mostly, trying to synthesize the resistance factors. Thomas smiled grimly. Ben's team shut them down. Lily studied the data. They learned so much since those early days. Natural enhancement wasn't just about genetics. It required specific environmental triggers, particular types of stress and adaptation. Diana had been right about its potential, but wrong about how to achieve it. The veteran outreach program is expanding, Evelyn reported next. We're opening new treatment centers in Europe and Asia. The enhanced soldiers there. Their situation is desperate. Marcus nodded. The Russians were particularly aggressive with their programs. Any word from Wraith? Still stable. The treatments worked better than expected, Evelyn pulled up his file. He's become our best advocate, actually. Other enhanced soldiers trust him. He understands their struggles. Wraith, now known by his real name, Daniel Pierce, had transformed from their greatest enemy into one of their strongest allies. His testimony had been crucial in exposing the remaining Project Nightingale operatives. And Jake? Lily asked quietly. A moment of tension filled the room. Jake Mitchell had died in prison 5 years ago, his enhanced systems finally failing despite their best efforts to save him. His death had affected Evelyn deeply, not from love, but from the waste of it all. His case study has helped us identify early warning signs, Thomas said diplomatically. We've saved hundreds by catching the degradation sooner. The meeting continued, but Lily's mind wandered to the future. The Foundation's work was far from over. As long as people sought shortcuts to power, the temptation to enhance soldiers would remain. Later that evening, she found herself in the Foundation's memorial garden. Names of fallen enhanced soldiers lined the walls. Those they couldn't save, those who died before the truth came out. Diana Wells's name was there too, a reminder that power without wisdom destroyed itself. Heavy thoughts? Lily turned to find her father standing behind her. Marcus Rourke's hair had gone completely white, but his eyes were as sharp as ever. I thought you were in Montana. Some things require a personal touch. He joined her by the memorial wall. Sarah spotted increased activity at that facility in Eastern Europe. Looks like they're moving to human trials. The Albanian group? Marcus nodded. They think they've solved the degradation problem. They haven't. You're going in? We are. You, me, Sarah, Ben. Just like old times. Lily raised an eyebrow. Mom won't like that. Your mother's the one who insisted. She says we need to document everything properly for the treatment programs. A small smile. She's coming too. The plan came together quickly. Sarah Chun established overwatch positions around the facility. Ben's teams secured the perimeter. Evelyn prepared to receive and assess the victims of the enhancement experiments. But it was Lily who took point, walking openly to the facility's front gate. The guards raised their weapons, then hesitated. Something in her presence, her stillness, made them pause. My name is Dr. Lily Rourke, she announced. I'm here to talk about Project Nightingale. The facility's director, a thin man with hungry eyes, met her in the conference room. We know who you are. Your father's reputation precedes you. Then you know why I'm here. Your enhancement program will fail. The neural degradation is inevitable without the proper genetic markers. Our process is different. No, it isn't. But our treatment program can help your soldiers before permanent damage occurs. The director leaned forward. You're offering to help us? I'm offering to save them. There's a difference. She laid out the evidence, brain scans, autopsy reports, documented cases of enhancement degradation. The science was undeniable. Your choice is simple, Lily concluded. Work with us openly, save your soldiers' lives. Or. She smiled, and in that moment, she was purely her father's daughter. Or discover why enhanced soldiers fear the name Rourke. The operation ended peacefully. Another facility shut down, more veterans saved, more evidence gathered. The Foundation's influence grew, its mission expanding. But the real victory was in the small moments. Marcus and Sarah sharing quiet evenings on the ranch, their bond deepened by years of trust and shared purpose. Evelyn counseling enhanced veterans, turning her pain into healing for others. Ben training new security teams, passing on the lessons learned in Shadow Wars. Thomas developing treatments that gave enhanced soldiers their lives back. Wraith teaching newly stabilized veterans how to live as humans again. And Lily carrying forward the legacy of both her parents, the strength to fight and the wisdom to heal. The Foundation's annual gathering brought them all together. Enhanced veterans and their families, medical staff, security teams, all united by a shared history and a common purpose. Marcus watched his daughter address the crowd, her words carrying the weight of experience and hope. Evelyn sat beside him, their past wounds healed by time and understanding. Sarah and Ben flanked them protectively, family in all but blood. Project Nightingale tried to create super soldiers, Lily told the assembled crowd. But they didn't understand what true strength is. It's not about physical enhancement or neural modification. It's about choice, about staying human in the face of inhumanity, about turning darkness into light. The applause was thunderous. Marcus felt Sarah's hand slip into his, squeezed gently. On his other side, Evelyn wiped away proud tears. They had all come so far from those dark days of betrayal and revenge. The shadows hadn't disappeared. They never would completely. But they'd learned to live in the light, to use their experiences to help others find their way out of darkness. That evening, they gathered at Marcus's ranch, the inner circle of the Foundation, the core family that had emerged from Project Nightingale's ashes. The conversation flowed easily, years of shared history creating a comfortable rhythm. Remember when we thought enhanced soldiers were the biggest threat? Ben mused, nursing a beer. Sarah snorted. Turns out regular humans are still the most dangerous creatures around. That's why the Foundation's work matters, Evelyn said. We're not just treating enhancement degradation. We're treating the human condition. Marcus watched them from his porch, feeling a deep sense of contentment. They had built something meaningful from the ruins of Project Nightingale. Not just a foundation or a treatment program, but a family. Lily joined him, matching his contemplative mood. Think we'll ever be finished? Really stop all the enhancement programs? Probably not, Marcus admitted. Human nature doesn't change. There will always be people seeking power, looking for shortcuts. Then why do we keep fighting? He turned to look at their gathered family. The soldier, the sniper, the healer, the protector. Each changed by their experiences, each choosing to use that change for good. Because that's human nature too, he said. The choice to stand against darkness, to protect others, to make things right. Lily nodded, understanding. They were no longer victims or weapons or experiments. They were guides, helping others find their way back to humanity. The sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky in brilliant colors. Inside, laughter and conversation mingled with the sounds of dinner being prepared. A normal family moment, made extraordinary by the journey that had brought them here. The shadows of Project Nightingale had transformed into something else, a legacy of healing, of redemption, of hope. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. Marcus looked at his daughter, seeing in her the best of what they'd all become. Ready for tomorrow? Lily smiled, her father's strength and her mother's compassion perfectly balanced in her expression. Always. We've got work to do. And they did. The work would never really end. But they would face it together, as they had faced everything else, with courage, with wisdom, and with the unshakable bond of family forged in the crucible of their shared past. The shadows remained, but they no longer haunted them. Instead, they served as a reminder of how far they'd come, and how far they still could go. That was their true legacy. Not the enhancement program that had tried to turn them into weapons, but the choice they made each day to be something more, something better, something human. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.